Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's second ever podcast. I'm your host, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, and of course, joined here in the SmashBoxx studios, our producer and computer extraordinaire, Jonny V. How are we doing tonight, Jonny?
I think we're doing pretty good so far.
Absolutely. First and foremost, we got to say thank you to anyone and everyone that tuned in last week to check out the podcast. Jonny was working tirelessly here to get it up in a couple different places.
Yeah, it took a couple days, but now we'll go over maybe a little later where you can find it, how you can find the different products you can find it on. But yeah, we had it up. I think it was by Friday. I had it up, something like that.
Sure. I'll go with you on that one. I just have to trust you most of the time, which is actually kind of scary.
Oh, wow.
So last week, in our opinion, was a relatively big success. We know we certainly have things that we can improve upon, and we want your feedback. And again, we'll talk about that at the end a little bit as to how to do it. But overall, pretty happy with how things went for our first ever show.
I think so. I really do. I think and the numbers kind of pan that out.
Yeah, we're happy that here as of our second broadcast, we're already sitting with more than 2,000 views on YouTube, plus then on the downloads out on all of the various podcast networks. So again, thank you guys. So tonight you're going to see, hopefully another good show.
Oh, hopefully. It'll be our first, right?
You're going to see a show. We're going to add a couple new features and segments tonight. We're also going to have the 2014 Women's World Champion, Katrina Allen, and she'll be joining us as well for our featured interview, and very excited to talk to her as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think she'll have some good insight as to what she's going to do, hopefully over the short break, I'm sure, for them, and all that other good stuff that they're going to do.
All right, Jonny, go ahead and give them a quick rundown what we have somewhat set up for an itinerary. I know we'll fly by the seat of our pants.
Yeah, but this is kind of a general, they call it an outline, but
okay.
Yeah. Well, first we'll check in with Dana Vichy and look at some of the events that happened last weekend. We will kind of get some general news from around the sport, some things that we found interesting. Our interview with Catrina. We'll look at what we've seen on social media this week, and finally we'll end up with some maybe some picks of the week as we did last week, something not disc golf related, preferably, or along those lines. So yeah,
awesome. So we've got a bunch of things in store. The general format we're thinking is sometime around an hour. Could be a little more, a little less on any given week, but that's kind of the number we're shooting for. If you know Jonny and I at all on a personal level, we could probably talk for 24 straight hours about disc golf and other things.
I'll say this: I think I found that this podcast gives us less reason to talk during the week, so we don't go through everything that we normally do. We don't sit and gossip like old women. Throughout the week, we can do it here on the show.
We can save it for everybody, so you can sit back and enjoy what we have going on. So, with that being said, let's move right into our first segment. We're going to ring up Dana Vichy, the well-known curly-haired, Vibram-sponsored Dana Vichy. I personally think the segment should, in fact, be Boom Goes the Dynamite, but we're working on it.
If you have any suggestions, send them to us. Send them to Dana. We'll get things figured out. So Dana, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, guys. Thanks for having me, and we're definitely open to suggestions here for a second.
The first suggestion might be to shave.
Oh.
No?
Not this month.
Not this month, but...
I don't. You know what? I wake up and I shave, or I wake up and I don't shave. That's just me.
Yeah. Legs?
That's another segment, Jonny?
Yeah, that's another segment. Quick question: How does your wife like the beard? Does she dig it?
It's at a length that it's manageable, but we'll see what happens another week or two down the line. She might be asking me to trim it up.
To trim it up a little bit? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Dana, well, do you want to get into kind of what happened this past weekend in the world of disc golf?
Yeah, but first I'd like to direct Terry to the shirt that I'm wearing right here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Can you read that, Terry?
Yes, unlike probably I won't even say that. Yes, I can read that. It's worth. I'll go ahead and bring it up. Dana played for DJ's Dirty Dozen, which is Darren Johnson, and Dana was a proud member of that team for the Midwest team tournament held up at Sandy Point Resort and Disc Golf Ranch. Mike and Michelle Cousins in the beautiful Lac du Flambeau, Northwoods area. And Dana's team, which he did not head up, he simply tagged along for, I think. We went head-to-head with them in the final match at this match play tournament.
How'd that go for you?
Yeah, well, Dana's only bringing it up for one reason. And
you didn't just lose, did you?
no, they did beat us that time. We beat them in the prelims, and their 12-person team beat our 12-person team, which I am a captain of. And so congratulations to Dana and the rest of the
thanks.
the Dirty Dozen, as you guys may call yourselves.
Yeah.
Does that go back to the whole showering and shaving thing, or where does Dirty Dozen come from? Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. All right. So congratulations. We look for sweet revenge. Johnny V's team here the year before had been the champions out of the Appleton.
2 years prior. The first year we were. The second year we made the finals with Minnesota and lost to them. And this year we decided to give somebody else a chance.
Yeah, that's what it was. So congratulations, Dana. You've only got a few more months to keep it.
Maybe we can not team up, but go against each other this year, Terry. Me and you.
Yeah, maybe. Are you going to be playing in an AM spot too, like I might? Never mind. I'm not good at disc golf anymore.
Is your rating that low?
Let's move on. What happened last weekend, Dana?
Speaking of ratings,
well, we're here in November, and as most of you know, most of the tournaments are taking place in the warmer climates or more mild. We had a 2-day beat here down in Houston, Texas, with Matt Hall winning quite handily. Looks like he averaged 10-20 golf or so. He may be one of the best ginger disc golfers ever. I'd put him up there with Paul Oman. So good shooting, Matt.
Now,
then,
he won by a comfortable amount? Was that a couple strokes? Was that like 10, 15?
I think it was double digits. It might have been 9-10 strokes.
All right, that's pretty handily then. Congratulations, Matt.
Yeah, nothing new for him. He's been winning tournaments in Texas for quite a while now. So
and there's a reason he stays out of Pro Worlds. He just wins in Texas, right?
Yeah, make yourself a small living down there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then moving southeast, we had the Forest Hill Open over in North Carolina, and North Carolina's newest resident, Nate Sexton, won yet another tournament against quite a strong field. Looks like Brian Schwaberger was there, Terry Gallups, Jeremy Colling.
Yeah, it looked like there was a handful of maybe 8,000 to 10,000 rated players at that event. So, that was that's a pretty nice one to take down.
Yeah, I believe. Speaking of social media or thinking of it, I think he posted and said that was his 11th win of the season, and that's the highest win count he's had in any one season.
Very nice.
And that's impressive because I think he's moved to even a more competitive area. Being out in Oregon and Washington area for so long, and now down to North and South Carolina, that's probably even more competitive for him. So very impressive.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And then Schwebe got second, and I think he's probably got 15-20 wins this year. So
minimum, yeah. That guy racks up wins like I don't know, like you rack up razors.
Yeah, just
no.
All right, I know it's your second show. Keep trying, Jeff.
I'm batting 500. That's good enough.
Yeah,
you're gonna get it. So last week you guys gave a big hug to somebody. Who was that?
That was Andrew Weiler we gave the big hug to. He missed cash last week by, I think, 2 strokes. He was the first person out of cash in that event last week we talked about.
But this week,
where did he finish? Andrew Weiler?
I read on social media that he thanked us for the big hug, and it helped boost him into the cash this week. So in a real solid field, he finished, I think, I saw that you had to average at least 1,000 rated golf in that event to cash, and he averaged over that. So he did cash. He was pretty happy about that. I think he said this might have been the last event of the year for him, and he's cashing in it. So that's pretty good.
Nice, and I definitely think that you guys played a role in that. So good work.
We usually do.
So Andrew, send him, I don't know, maybe 5-10% of your probably $60 winnings. So
We'll take every penny.
Yes, we will, Andrew.
So moving west, we had another B tier out this was in California, the SoCal Series Championships. And, you know what, I was a little surprised with the winner here. I saw in the pre-registration list that Josh Anthon was indeed registered for the tournament. And some of you may know, Josh, I think he's 8 for 8 on the year tournament.
Yeah, he's
that's for wins, not just showing up or cashing. That's for 8 for 8 on just wins.
That guy. Yeah. When he's on, he's unstoppable. Honestly, I think he's right up there with Paul and Ricky as far as talent and ability. He'll compete with any of them on any given day.
Right. So maybe lucky for those guys. That's Ricky Wysocki and Paul Ulibarri. They finished in a first place tie and had to go into a little bit of a playoff. And from what I heard, Wysocki hit 100 to 125 foot putt on the third playoff hole to win it.
Yeah, we got some. We're not going to be able to show it, unfortunately, but we got some nice footage from AJ Risley where he cut together a nice piece. Maybe we'll put it up on the Smashbox page after the fact that you can go watch it. But it looked like it was really competitive between Paul and Ricky.
Yeah, they kind of blew the field away. But another note of interest from that tournament, we almost had an 1100 rated round.
Really?
And just how close was that?
Drew Gibson, it looks like unofficially, I think it was 1095 rated.
Okay.
So when it becomes official, and just Dana, I know you're pretty familiar with the rating system, as challenging as they can be. That's unofficial. So once the tournament director submits the final report to the PDGA, they get all the things, make sure everything's ironed out in terms of the players that were there, and all the other final details, again, and all the course ratings that could change, that could go up or down. So it's technically unofficial now at 1095. That could be a little lower. It could even crest 1100 when it's all said and done. So either way, pretty solid round.
Yeah, that would be pretty exciting for Drew. So you know what I'm going to do this week? Last week you guys did the one stroke out of cash, big hug. I'm going to do the one stroke away from 1100 rated.
Oh. Wow.
So I'm going to give the hashtag big hug to Drew Gibson.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Wow, very nice.
We'll make sure to post something out on his Facebook page and give him the big hug. What are we going to call it? The hashtag big hug 1000 or big hug 1100? Sorry. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Someone go out there and come up with something clever, post it on his page, let him know that we're talking about him and that we're thinking about his almost 1100 rated round. I think he ended up taking, he was third or fourth.
Yeah, I know he was there in the final 9.
He was there in the final 9, and he didn't have a chance for first or second. Those two were tied up, but I know he gave a really competitive weekend. So.
Yeah. So with Drew almost getting that 1100 rated round, it got me thinking. I hadn't heard of too many 1100 rated rounds this year. Can you guys think of any?
I'm going to go on a limb and say Macbeth shot one somewhere.
They actually always talk about them at the beginning at the memorial.
Yep.
Chuck Kennedy, I know, has put out his theory and the whole reason behind why that happens there, but no, there probably really haven't been any blow out of the water rounds. I know there's been some.
There's been some close ones. I mean, obviously we had Drew.
Yeah.
We had our own AJ Risley almost put one up. He put up a 1095, I think it was.
Yeah, 1090s. Yeah.
1090s. I can't.
1080s.
Yeah.
We've our 3-time world champion Paul Macbeth. He's gotten a handful of 1090 plus rated rounds.
Okay.
Most recently at the U.S. Championships, round 1. I think he 1095, a little 1095 to start out.
14 under.
Week. But so I dug a little deeper, and it looks to me like there was only 2 1100 rated rounds, and they were both early in the year, and one was Ricky Wysocki. Surprise.
Yeah.
Where was that at? Do you know?
That was at the Texas National Tour.
That was going to be my guess. Yeah, in that wind.
Yeah, the winds were up, and he just
he destroyed everyone. Yeah.
Blew away the field.
Hey, I like what you did there, Dana.
Now that brings up I thought, was the other one Paul Macbeth at the Ohio event, the
Brent Hambrick?
Brent Hambrick, because I know it was super windy there, and he blew the field away there.
You know what? I don't think it ended up being 1100
Didn't it?
rated
Okay.
round. So
Okay. So then my guess is wrong.
Looks like, yeah, it looks like the other one was by none other than Big Germ, Jeremy Colling,
Okay.
and
What, at
it
the
was actually
Vibram, you said?
He won the Vibram. Was it there?
no,
No?
it wasn't at the Vibram.
Okay. Where did that happen?
It was actually at a sanctioned league, I believe, in Charlotte. So,
Like a home course kind of thing.
yeah, I mean, so
How do you feel about that, Dana?
Yeah,
Is a sanctioned league, 1100 rated round. Break it down for us. How do you feel about that, buddy?
all right. Waisaki National Tour. Can you guys see my other hand?
No.
That's where I placed Big Germ's league 1100 rated round.
Ouch.
Okay.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's definitely solid shooting, but you're right. I don't think there's the same pressure or maybe. I don't know, but maybe even the competitive drive. You get hot in the league round, and it's different caliber of players, and I'm sure it was a spectacular round, but I think you're right. It's hard to compare for sure.
Yeah, we'll just say it's not. I don't know. I'll say it's not Dana recognized. Is it SmashBox recognized?
We weren't there for it, so if it didn't happen on video, I don't think it happened at all.
If we weren't covering that particular league live, then it didn't really count.
Yeah, no.
Ooh. All right, so I guess we're gonna have to talk to Jeremy Colling sometime soon.
Yes.
We'll get him on the podcast, and we'll discuss it with him on whether he considers it a true 1100 rated round.
We'll compare that to his jump roping skills, which were also on social media earlier this weekend. But that's
Thank
another
God
story.
he had a shirt on for that.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we got there, Dana?
Well, not a whole lot. It looks like surprise, surprise. Katrina Allen was at the SoCal Series Championship, and yeah, she won her it's got to be at least her 25th tournament of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
that is
about 27th is what I've heard.
We're up to 20. Okay, all right, you guys are good.
Yeah.
We've done a little bit of research, and
we don't just fly by the seat of our pants here.
All the time.
We okay. Well, when we're wearing pants, we don't at least.
So yeah, when we catch up with Katrina, I know she's going to have some interesting updates for us as well. So that's a perfect reference and segue for us as to Katrina's pretty amazing year. 25th win, as you said, or 25th, 27th. We'll talk about that when we catch up with her in a few minutes as well. So very exciting.
Yeah, she's had a heck of a year. If I had her putting for me, I might have won a national tour. I don't know.
Let's not push it, Dana. All right, this is.
I don't know.
I mean, okay, maybe you would have. She's obviously an amazing putter.
Yeah,
and like so many of the other top pros, we talked about Sarah Hokum last weekend. So many of our other top pros are talking about their off-season regimen. Dana, before we let you go here tonight, thank you for joining us. But before we let you go, tell us a little bit about your off-season routine here. I know you're too scared to come up and play in my tournament in a couple of weeks. What's your plan?
It's a scary course. I mean,
he's been there before. So what's your plan, Dana?
Well, like every winter, I try to come up with money-making schemes. I'm substitute teaching. It's keeping me pretty busy. And as for disc golf, I'm currently trying to work a little kink out of my game. I've diagnosed a problem in my throw. So I imagine a lot of my winter is going to be spent trying to break this little bit of a bad habit that I've developed. And, on top of that, obviously I'd like to work out and do all that jazz, but we'll see how it goes.
Now, for those who aren't aware, you're out of Illinois. How are you planning on working out that kink in the winter? Are you just going to get out and play during the winter? How did you find the kink? Were you filming your form or anything, or did you just notice something? Did someone point something out to you?
Well, actually, my friend Lauren Lakeberg, who many of you might know from her awesome pictures that she takes at tournaments and courses, I was looking at a lot of pictures that she had taken of me throwing, and almost every single one, I'm not getting any rotation on my right foot. So like on my plant foot.
Okay.
So every single picture, my foot is not opened up, and so I talked to a few friends, Roman and friend Roman, who knows his form, and Mike Robinson. Thank you guys very much for taking a look at the pictures, and they kind of helped me diagnose what I was doing. And yeah, I'm gonna try to get a net, throw in my apartment, do a lot of pretend throws in my apartment. I don't have any downstairs neighbors right now, so I can do whatever I want. So
okay,
yeah.
Well, good luck with that. We hope that we'll keep up. Obviously, with as long as there's events, hopefully we'll keep Dana coming on and giving us all this wonderful insight, and we'll keep up with your quest for the unkink.
Yeah, we. And with that being said, we're checking out on the live chat board. We encourage everyone to go out there. We'll do our best to keep up on it. Eric McCabe is logged in and saying hi to Dana. So Dana getting a little world champ love, so to speak. Yep. So glad you could be logged in and checking out the action, Mr. McCabe. And, don't go too far, because I'm sure we'll be having you on the show here sometime as well, Mr. Emac. So.
Definitely.
All right. Well, that being said, anything else for us? Any parting shots here?
Where can people find you?
Hi to my dad. He's in Mexico right now.
Oh, nice.
Love you, Dad. And my wife is watching in the other room. Love you, Ash.
She can't get enough Dana.
Yeah, now it's forever recorded.
And thanks a lot for having me. Hopefully, I make the cut, can come on again and chit chat with you guys. Yeah.
So can people reach out to you on social media anywhere? Do you have a Facebook, Twitter, whatever profile?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dana Disc Golf. And pretty clever there, I know. And then my Facebook is Dana Vichy. Yep, another clever one. But yeah, hit me up, and I'm pretty active on there.
Now, before I let you go, don't you have a bet with one Mr. Terry Miller regarding something in Facebook? Someone to 10,000 likes or 100,000 or something? A million?
Actually, it's a race to 1 million.
Okay.
1 million likes for our fan pages. DG Guy fan page. Go unlike him and unlike my fan page, which is Dana Vichy. And
is it Dana Vichy or Dana Disc Golf?
My fan page is Dana Vichy, and that's Vicich.
Okay.
Don't ask me how got to that pronunciation from that spelling, but you should be able to find me pretty easy. So don't forget, unlike DG Guy, like Dana.
And everyone should be out there liking Smashbox. So
yeah. Meanie.
Yeah, that's
all right, Dana. Race to 1 million. Let's see.
Race to 1 million, right here.
All
right.
Hey,
thanks, Dana. Have a good one.
All right, we'll check in with you again hopefully next week. See you, buddy. So there you have it. That is Dana Disc Golf, or Dana Vichy, joining us. He's been a staple, really, in the Midwest area. I've watched him elevate his game. I remember him coming to some of my tournaments 6-7 years ago, working his way all the way up. He played in the Amateur World Championships here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in 2007. And we've seen, really, if you look out at his PDGA ratings, just a steady incline just about every update, and it's crested over 1,000 now, and he's really put himself on the map. So
I don't see him dipping below 1,000 anytime soon. He's out there pounding the pavement every weekend, it seems like. Yeah,
he's been on tour quite a bit, and has made a name for himself, and maybe most importantly, a few years ago at the Vibram Open, when it was still called that, he won the award, the Big Dog Award, the Spirit Award, which means that he's out there having as good of a time or better than anyone else, and is great and lovable to be around. So thank you, Dana, for joining us, and if you keep doing your homework, we'll keep having you back. So
he's a teacher for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you so much, Dana. And with that being said, I know we referenced her a few moments ago. Our 2014 world champion, women's world champion, Katrina Allen. We're going to dial her up here in just a moment, and we're going to get her on the line. We're going to do that, however. Do we want to do that right now, or are we going to move into something else? Looks like I might be going out of order.
Oh, that's all right. We're just we have a little thing, some news from around the sport. We'll kind of talk about some things in the past couple of weeks that have happened, maybe that we didn't get to last week.
Okay.
One of the things I saw that seemed to set off some big social media stuff was Jonny McRae moving to off of, I believe he was on Gateway, and he put out a big, nice press release saying he thanked Gateway for all the support and whatnot, but he's moving on to Trilogy now at this point.
Yeah, correct. I know he's been with Gateway forever. Without a doubt, unequivocally the single best all Gateway only thrower to ever play the game, and really helped push the Gateway product out there and let everyone know just how good you can be with any given name brand, even if it's not one of the biggest. And I know he's with Salient Disc, working with them and doing some stuff throughout the last year. I think he's still going to have maybe some relationship with them, or I think he had thanked them as well. I know they had supported him throughout this year. And then, like you said, Trilogy, being Westside, Dynamic Disc, you know, the whole threesome, so to speak, over there. So Trilogy picking him up, and as he said, it's about time again. He's going back out on tour.
What's he going to call his tour next year?
I think he's already named it. It's about time too.
It's about time too. Like T-O-O or T-O?
Like Dumb and Dumber, like T-O? No.
It's about time to do something. It's about time for him to win Worlds or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he proved to us last year that even though he's master's age, he could go out and he hung with all of the best of the best. He won 6 or 8 or 10 tournaments, something like that. It was every time I saw him, he was winning pretty much. And, you know, and then obviously so close at USDGC, which we all know about. But very impressive that he went out and he's going to be doing it again. He's got a very
good for him.
Huge support system in his wife, Jenny, who's just amazing. And his daughter was with him most of the tour last year. And I think they're gonna give it another go.
Give another whirl next summer.
So
that's excellent. So the other thing that came across my desk this week was an email from one John Duzler. Disc Golf Planet is raising their lifetime memberships to $35 next year, and you have until the end of the year to get in at $25 if you want to do that. I know that the first, I think he's 50 people. I think it was the first 50 from here on out. If you register before the end of the year, get a free Prodigy disc thrown in.
And I think that actually expanded. Originally, I got an email saying, hey, if you buy your lifetime membership for $25, you also will then be given a Prodigy disc. They didn't specify, I don't think it matters, but they said that they'd be giving a Prodigy disc. And then I got another email a few days later that said actually to the first 100 people.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't see that part.
That sign up, they will be getting a disc. And I know that they're going to be raising the fee to $35. It's a lifetime membership. I know I'm a lifetime member. I think I did it for $100 way back the first year it existed.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So, but yeah.
Get your deal now.
Exactly. So get it in now. I know that next year.
The lifetime memberships give you entry into their
some of their giveaways.
Raffles or giveaways that they have
exactly. Some of those things.
During their broadcasts.
So anybody that wants to get out there and support them, like I said, they're running a special through the end of the year that you can sign up, and it's going to be $25. So
excellent.
Look for that from the folks over at Disc Golf Planet.
All right. Well, I'm going to dial up Catrina here. We'll get her on the line so we can chat with her about how her current tour is going.
Yeah. Touring prior to this phone call, and even touring that she has remaining after this phone call.
All right. Excellent. We got Catrina on the line. She's adjusting her camera. We'll give her a couple seconds just so she can adjust her camera before we throw her live on the air. But how's it going, Catrina?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing good.
Doing really good. Welcome to the show. Again, you have Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller. And for everyone out there, if you're here watching our podcast, you probably know Katrina Allen. If you don't, you should. She is our 2014 Women's World Champion. And Katrina, I was there. I watched the final putt drop. Here we are a few months removed. Has it sunk in that you've claimed your first Women's World title?
Yeah, I guess so.
Has anything changed? Has anything changed in the past couple months? Are you getting more requests for signatures or things of that nature?
No, I guess I get called champ now.
Oh yeah, that's not a bad title to have.
No.
Yeah.
It's been really competitive in the women's field over the last few years. We've seen 4 different women's world champions in the last 5 or 6 years. You know, yourself and Paige and Sarah and Val. What's it like knowing that we have so many different competitive women that seem to be out for blood any given weekend?
I think it's awesome. I think I've noticed in the scores over the years, like what you had to shoot, say, to win Worlds or the Memorial or a bigger tournament 3 or 4 years ago, and then you look at the scores now and it's dramatically changed. So I think it's pushing us to be better and pushing other women to be better and just growing the fields, I guess.
Yeah, now, and we're seeing as these women's fields are growing and you guys are getting better and more competitive, you, along with a handful of the other women I just mentioned, you guys are as good or better than most men that play disc golf. If there's, 5 million people that play, you're probably better than 98% of them.
Oh, at least. I mean, I think you've seen over the past couple of years just the average women's rating going up and up as these competitors just get tougher and tougher.
Yeah. So what is that like knowing? And we looked at a few of your stats, but what is that like knowing that any given weekend you could actually show up and you're certainly competitive in a men's open field? And what events have you played in, and how did that go for you this year?
I played in one men's open tournament the beginning of the year, and my goal, actually, the 3 best players were Ricky Wysocki, David Felberg, and Paul Ulibarri. And so my goal was to get 4th, and I thought I made the lead card and beat everybody. There was another guy on the card, and I beat him. So I was in 4th, but someone jumped me from the second card. But I mean, it was awesome because really have to focus on just the course, because they play the course so differently. So it was great to just, play the course, play my game. It was a good experience.
Now, talk a little bit about your game. Obviously, it's as good as they get out there, but talk about what you feel like are some of your strong suits, and maybe even some of the areas that you feel like you can improve upon.
Okay. I guess I think one of the strongest things is I always have a game plan on every hole. And then I think something also that I noticed just in the past, like I guess since Worlds, for instance, the first round at Worlds, for some reason, me and my drivers weren't getting along. And
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know, just my timing was off with them or something. And I noticed it after the first 2 holes. So I went to just kind of pitching around that, where did we play? That long course with OB.
Blue Ridge, Blue Lake. Yeah.
So I kind of just was like, okay, well, I'm just going to stick, instead of forcing it, I went to what I know, and I, pitched around the course and played for par and only went for birdie when I felt comfortable. And so I think that's something that maybe I don't see other people do,
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something, like I said, over the past few months I've noticed, like, if something's not working during a round, I'll go to something that is working and feels more comfortable to make sure I don't bogey, I guess.
Now, you said that you have a game plan for every hole that you go into. Do you keep that just kind of in your head? Do you have like almost like a caddy guide? A lot of players will keep like a notebook and just write down. We've seen Nate Doss do it quite a bit. Every hole, the disc he throws, and kind of his game plan. Do you do that, or is that all kind of right upstairs?
It's all upstairs for some reason. I know that's weird, but I could probably go to any course I've played, and it's like I get on there and I can walk just right to the next hole. I know where I'm going. I remember the shots I threw. I don't know what that is, but yeah.
All right.
It's kind of weird, but yeah.
No, obviously whatever works for you. Do you ever find that knowing that you throw further than, again, some men or a lot of men, and then further than most of the other women that play, do you ever think about how you have to like dial that back, and you see somebody throwing for a green or a shot, and then you think, oh yeah, I got to remember I either got to disc down or I got to dial that back in some way? And how far do you throw? Maybe that you should answer that first.
Right now I guess just distance shots, just golf shots, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
I'm throwing like 380, 390, but on a good one, like, every once in a while I get one over 4 or something, but just consistently like 380, 390.
Sure.
But like I said, if it's part of the game plan where I feel like, I can go for those greens you're talking about without bogeying, then I will. But I've noticed in like the last few months, I've just kind of pitched up, took my 3 and moved on to the next hole. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, absolutely. Now, when saying just that, and maybe this is the public service announcement for all people out there watching, what would you say is the easiest mistake that any player at any level could fix? When you see so many different people playing, good and bad, what would you say if there's one easy mistake out there that you see a lot of people making that could shave strokes? What would you say that is?
Guys, that's funny. I was just kind of thinking about this the other day.
I'm in your head.
Yeah, I guess.
It's a little creepy.
No, I just see kind of what you're saying is just maybe being too aggressive on putting outside of the circle or up shots where they're leaving themselves like another 25, 30 footer where Paul talks about it a lot in his clinics and stuff. Like imagine if you just lay that up once or twice around that you have it, how many strokes would you save,
Sure.
And then you think about the whole tournament, there's 4 rounds, 2 strokes around, there's 8 strokes, and how much more would that jump you up? So does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. Absolutely. And
Definitely.
I think you see a lot of people doing that are maybe just whether you call it too aggressive or just a little too new to playing smart, or they don't think about, this 20-footer could be a 25-footer coming back if I'm not careful on how I'm approaching it, or a 40-footer could have a 30-foot comeback. So, no, that makes perfect sense. Now, you have been traveling around a ton. Dana, our guest just a moment ago, was talking about all the different wins all these players had this last weekend. You, again, were one of them, which has been no surprise to you this year. You told us earlier that you're sitting on 27 sanctioned wins so far. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I guess I think we played 35 tournaments, or I played 35 women's open tournaments, and then I played in the men's advanced once and then the men's open once. But yeah, I guess something I can contribute to that is I'm in a couple of days I'll be 11 months sober.
Awesome.
So
congratulations.
Thank you. And then instead of drinking at night, I've gone to the gym. So I've not only replaced it with something else that's more productive.
Yeah,
then,
that's a great habit to replace it with.
It's definitely been huge. And like I said, we just play every weekend, and so I've just kind of gotten to a groove. And like I said, just a lot of practice. And
is there a goal for the number of wins you're looking to get this year? We've only got 5 weeks left in the season technically.
Yeah, something like that.
Do you have 5 more events lined up, or 4 or 3? What's your goal for till the end of the year?
I'm actually playing 4 more events. This weekend here in Phoenix is the Phoenix Ladies Open, which is an all-women's tournament. And
do they expect a pretty good turnout for that?
Yeah, it's pretty big right now. I haven't looked in a few days, but I think there's about 10 open women, 10 masters, a bunch of advanced and intermediate, rec, a lot of first time. So it looks great. And then on Sunday is another one-day tournament that I think Dave Felberg's running out at Fountain Hills.
Okay.
And don't quote me, but I think it might be for some kind of like turkey charity or something. I don't know. I think there's something to do with Thanksgiving going on with that. And then next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday after Thanksgiving is the city championships here in Phoenix. And then we fly to Charleston for our last event for the B tier there, the Charleston Classic.
And that is a really awesome event. Everybody talks about it every single year. It sells out almost instantly. It's a pretty big deal. Is there going to be is there a good field there? Do you know?
Yeah, I think there's maybe 8 women, 8 or 9 women. Liz Carr, Sarah Cunningham, Sarah Nicholson, Sarah Lambertson. I think of a few names. Anyways, it'll
Awesome.
be. I played last year. The courses are awesome. It's great.
Yeah, that we hear just I've heard for years just how beautiful it is. One of these days I'll get down there in some capacity. Now it's obviously no secret, and you're proudly sponsored by Prodigy Disc, who's came onto the scene just 2 years ago, and you've obviously been very successful with them. What has that been like as a transition from your previous sponsor, which was Discraft? Now you're transitioned fully into Prodigy, and maybe even take us a step further. What else do you think that's going to mean for your future?
Well, something that's great. Well, I guess we had to switch our whole bags, which I know other players had different approaches. But as soon as our drivers would come out, I would take out like my nukes and my forces and just take them all out at once, my favorites, my oldies, all that stuff, and put in the new drivers and just make myself learn them.
How long do you think it took you to adjust to the new drivers? I know a lot of players tend to stick with, they find a disc that works for them, and they almost, they'll almost refuse to change when there's 1,000 options out there because of that time period it takes to adjust. How long did it take you to adjust to your new plastic?
It took me a while, but I think it made me go out and practice more. So I think in the end I've grown from it. Like I said, you have to spend a lot more time out in the field learning your disc, which helps your timing and your distance and all those other things. So there was actually perks in it in the end. But no, I fell in love with the D1s. I throw all D1s, different weights, different, obviously I have the first one that I got from Prodigy is still in my bag, and I throw, and it probably flies more like a D4 or 5 now, but
yeah. Now, are you going to switch out your plastic it's almost the end of the year already, at the end of the year with new plastic, or do you kind of stick with the same bag and just roll with a disc until it's a roller?
Yeah, I love flippy plastic, so the more beat, the better. I like to work a disc in, but no, I'm not. I'm like the opposite of most people who every time you play with them, they have a new disc in their bag, and I'm like, don't touch my bag. I like it the way it is.
Okay.
So,
hey, if it clearly it works for you, and consistency is key. So as long as you know what's in your arsenal, it makes sense to be able to go back to that every time.
I'll definitely say this is something that I can't put a disc in my bag until I can see the flight in my head, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't know. I know it's kind of weird, but I don't know. That's how I've always been. I have to know what the disc does in my mind before it gets a spot in my bag, no matter what angle I'm throwing it on. I have to kind of see the flight. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes total sense. What do you think is the part of the game you need to work on the most right now, coming into this upcoming off season?
I feel like I'm really good from 25 and in.
Okay.
And then every once in a while I'll get hot, like on my jump putt. So I'm working on that, like right inside the circle to maybe like 40, 50 feet this winter. And then I'm working on a sidearm, just getting some more distance. There's just sometimes some holes where it's like that's the only option, and the low ceiling left to right shot or whatever it is.
And maybe next year you can make that list that Paul put out there of the top 5 sidearmers that he could name. He put himself on that list, so maybe at the end of the next year you can bump him, because I think he was number 5 on his list. So.
And that was in no specific order.
No specific order.
Don't pick on her man. He said there was no specific order.
About percentages, or Jeremy Colling and him and Nate Sexton do it, and I'm like, well, I throw 1 or 2 a weekend, but so far I've been 100% on those 1 or 2. So
well, that's good.
They better watch out.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there, we see a lot of different initiatives, especially as so many of our amazing women and ambassadors have come and gone and are at various levels within the sport. I think of a Val Jenkins, who's been playing for a lot of years, and you're seeing her maturity as she's come up through the sport. She's had her successes, and she'll continue to be successful, I'm sure. But she heads the women's committee and is really active in that role. Juliana Corver rings a bell. Of course, Des Redding and what she's done with the EDGE program. Is there anything in particular, any cause or angle that that you kind of align yourself right now, or do you feel like you're just more focused in getting in as much play and practice as you can right now?
Well, actually, you are in my head. 'Cause
Well,
I think it was a week ago. I'd been talking about this with a few girls, and then I finally just did it. I made it's private right now.
it's not about to be. No, go on.
In order to get in the group, you have to be added by me, but only women, and it's called Disc Golf Women on Tour, and my goal is to, so like, I just posted on there, who's going to the Glass Blown Open, registration open, and then in the comments, I'm hoping to see women be like, I'm going, I plan on going, and in hopes that women will kind of come together to encourage each other to go play tournaments, maybe carpool together, make it like a weekend trip together, and just like I said, so the goal is just to encourage, women to go out and play together
and yeah, that kind of leads.
It's kind of like a communication of where women are playing for the weekend, and so everyone can see it across the whole, country and world. I've actually added women, on the other side of the world in case, they plan on coming over here. So just kind of a place to communicate where you're playing for the weekend, and
that kind of leads into my next question, where I was thinking, it's hard enough to be on tour as one of the male players where the purses are a little larger. How do you have any tips for some of the women if they decide maybe next summer they want to go on tour, that they can continue on tour and save money, or cut corners here and there? What are some of your suggestions? What do you guys do to make ends meet on tour?
Well, this is not the first year, but the last few years have been, I haven't felt any financial problems on tour, but I definitely know with Prodigy, being the first to pay a salary, that's definitely helped. And then,
no car break-ins this
and stuff. But if I know that back when I was with Discrap, they were very willing to ship me a box of discs to help me sell for entry fees and things like that. And I don't know, before, even when I was an AM, I traveled and played a lot, but I bartended, and that worked really great for the hours and the flexibility.
Sure.
So, and then my rookie year, I just went out and did it, and it was rough, but I think you just have to, eat a little differently, stay with as many people as you can, and for me, I couldn't shop as much as I like to and all those kind of other things. But,
all right, so we're going to wrap up pretty soon, but one of the questions that came in off the board, thank you everyone that's logged in and has been watching along with us. One of the questions off the board, which I think is great, is what is your best tour story from this year? Could be a win, could be off the course, it doesn't even have to be disc golf related. What would you say is your best tour story from this year?
Oh, wow. That's tough. Look who I traveled with.
Yeah, okay. Mainly Paul and Drew Gibson quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, between Paul and Drew and Germ and then Will and, gosh, everything was story.
Okay.
Gosh, I'm trying to think of something.
It can be totally off the course. Was there a crazy day at the beach, or an awesome day at an amusement park, or did you get on any? Did
you travel overseas at all this year?
Yeah, we went to Stockholm.
That
was awesome.
That was pretty awesome. that was probably one of the highlights maybe of your year.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I guess Paul and I got stuck in Amsterdam on our way back from Stockholm because of the big storm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so we got to spend the day downtown shopping, eating, sightseeing, and that was kind of a cool thing because I've never been to Amsterdam, and it was really neat. So maybe that was a kind of a highlight.
A blessing in disguise.
That's a nice bonus.
Absolutely. Well, Kat, we thank you, of course, and congratulations. I've been honored to be around for so many of your wins and some of your awesome play throughout the year.
Yep.
And it was awesome watching you drop in that final putt to become the women's world champion. We want to thank your mom. She's out there and one of the biggest SmashBoxx supporters.
Yeah, every time you're on, I get to sit behind the scenes, and I'm usually the one that gets to chat with everybody, and I've had quite a few little comments back and forth with your mom. So thank her for us for watching.
Okay.
Yeah, she's always one of your biggest fans
Definitely.
and go-getters, and rooting for everybody. Her and Paul and everyone. She obviously is out there rooting for everybody. But thank her for tuning in, and thanks for joining us here on our podcast tonight.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, have a good night.
All right, there you have it.
Yes.
All right, take care, Kat. And as we said, there you have it. That is our 2014 Women's World Champion, Katrina Allen. She, as she said, she's had a few battles on and off the course this year. It's awesome. Congratulations on looking at 11 months sober. I know we had a conversation at the beginning of the year, and she said she was going to be changing some things up, and clearly what she's done has worked for her.
Yeah, it's definitely worked for her, as she was able to, and we didn't talk about this with her, obviously, she was able to win Worlds with getting a few penalty strokes.
Yeah, exactly. And not to pick on her, but she knows even just the night before, I had caught up with her and Paul during a video blog, and even within the video blog, she said, I'm got Milo tomorrow.
Yep,
and
she thought she was going to Milo the next morning, and it turns out she was at a course across town.
Yeah, and then some, actually. Yes.
And then some. Yeah, I heard it was she had to be somewhere in 45 minutes, where it's a minimum of an hour to get there.
Yeah,
so she missed one or two holes, and
she missed the first hole, and settled herself down and kept that composure, and again went through her routine. I know she's talked about it. I know Paul's talked about it a lot, and overcame that that scoring snafu, I guess we'll call it, and then, and think about it, she wasn't really warmed up at that point.
No.
After a 45-minute or an hour drive to then get to the course and then get out and have to play.
And then your nerves are probably going crazy thinking,
I believe it was her birthday on top of it. So.
Yeah, and, 11 months sober, we know she didn't go out and have a rager of a night,
No,
so it was just some bad luck.
Yeah, she said she was nervous and hadn't slept well all week, and I can understand that being in the lead of.
If I ever had the chance to win a world championship, I don't think I'd sleep.
Yeah,
I'd probably be sleeping. I'd probably be dreaming. It's about the only chance.
Probably. Well, so again, thank you, Katrina, and all of her support network and system that again tunes in, watches on SmashBoxx. We try to spread the love as much as we can, of course. Every time,
Definitely.
and we haven't really talked about it too much, but every time we go out and cover a group, naturally, one of the first messages you get is, "Oh, hey, can you go cover this other group?
Yeah.
My friend's playing or my uncle's playing."
Enough. That's one of the funniest things. We'll be covering a lead card with 4 of the 5 top players in the world, and inevitably I'll get something that says, "Hey, can you go cover my friend? I think he's in the other pool, and
At another course,
and I think he's in 132nd place. So if you could find him, that'd be great. And it'd be great if we could get everybody on camera, and if everything goes well for us, maybe someday we will.
Yeah.
But right now that's one of those funny things for us.
Yes, and exciting. Hopefully next year, one of the improvements. Although we haven't even been around for a full year, we're looking to go to hopefully 2-camera coverage at some of our events, if not all of them, next year.
Yeah, hopefully we can get. It's going to be a little bit of an investment, but we can look at getting some 2-camera coverage so we can get some some throws and releases, or possibly even 2-course coverage, depending on what happens and the work we get, the helpers we get. So if you're ever interested in helping or volunteering for SmashBoxx, reach out to us if we're in your area.
Yeah, absolutely. We can
always use a couple extra hands.
Yeah, look at us. We could certainly use the help. I mean, seriously. And that does bring up another good, quick point. More often than not, it was the two of us with a few hands of help.
Oh, definitely.
Here and there, but
when it comes, we had AJ helped us out over a week or two, and
a few other guys carrying the bags
Vibram,
and helping out at the Vibram, and Todd Dodge stepped up and was our cameraman.
Was a huge help for us, and
so
but there was a few events where it was you behind the camera and commentating, and me behind the computer and switching. So
and that was all of Am Worlds pretty much that entire week. So so if you think there's a huge crew, a huge posse, enormous collection of people and tens of thousands of dollars, it's us too. So we're doing what we can, and we're looking to grow and expand, and we're really excited about what we have coming up here in 2015.
Yeah, I think we've got some good things lined up for this upcoming year between NTs and majors and A tiers, whatever we can get. We're looking forward to bringing you the best in disc golf. Absolutely.
So one of the things that I want to touch on real quickly, Mike Barnett had reached out to me today, and this is a good thing for everyone to know about at home. Last year I had the privilege of being at the Throw Down the Mountain, which is a phenomenal course located in Brooksville, Florida, just north of Tampa. And he had brought me in to help cover the event. And then just today we had a conversation about possibly doing live for next year. However, we've pulled it up on the map and on the radar and all other tips and tricks and tools that we have to rely on. And it doesn't look like it's eligible, we'll say, for live coverage. However, he is still committed to having me come down and cover the tournament, which again is going to be a enormous B tier. It's just a few spots short of being sold out as I speak.
Is that down in Florida?
That's okay. So it's Brooksville, Florida, just north of Tampa, and very excited. So big thanks to Mike Barnett of Sun King Disc, who like I said, he's gone about it and reached out, and whether it's live with SmashBoxx or it's just me in the standard video blog format, either way we want to get the events
we've
covered.
known Mike for quite a few years now, and he's helped us out immensely over the past bunch of years. So it's good to have friends like that want to reach out and help you grow the sport like you're helping them.
Yeah, and he's got a phenomenal event, so look forward to that. It's split into 2 different weekends. I believe the 16th, 17th, and 18th of January will be the pro weekend, and I'll be arriving a few days before that, and hopefully giving you round-by-round coverage from the Throw Down the Mountain 3 tournament. So wanted to throw that out there. Great conversation with Mike today, and I also had a great conversation. I know this isn't a big shocker. I had a really good conversation with Steve Dodge today.
Really?
We're going to save that a little bit. Maybe we'll have that in a future update. Yeah. But Steve Dodge had talked last week about his birdie bashes.
Sure.
And it looks like he's going to have a birdie bash championships, and he might want us to cover it live, it looks like. So that should be pretty cool as well.
That should be all right. I mean, I think people like to watch the live golf from what I've seen.
Yeah.
And getting us there is the first step.
Yeah. So thanks, Steve Dodge. Great again. Thanks for joining us last week, and we look forward to the Birdie Bash Championships. We'll announce some of those details a little later.
Okay. Good.
All right.
Good. So there's a little note here that says, we're going to go into a little thing about new products out there. And there's being the off season, we don't see a lot of them, but I see a nice note here saying something about Matt Seary taking over the big Heiser bags. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
I know I've talked to Matt in the past. He had talked about taking over a bag company. I know that the previous owner was just basically ran out of time. I think that's what was posted on Facebook, just saying that he was a little too busy, couldn't keep up with everything that he was doing, so that he was going to be taking over a bag company. Okay. And Matt had, I know at one point, reached out to me and told me that this was in the works, and then he had posted a few days later. So I don't know all the exact details. I just know that we're looking at that. And then I know through our product updates, we see him from Dynamic Disc, we see him from Discraft, I see him from Innova. As a vendor and retailer myself, I see all these different product updates. Just to throw one out there, I know the disc from last year's Ace race from Discraft, I believe, was approved, and I believe it's called the Heat.
The Heat. Okay. Yeah, because they're talking about getting everyone signed up for their Ace races next year. So I did actually, you're right. I did see that saying that the Heat was approved as a PDGA disc, including the Ace race ones.
Yes, and on another exciting note, just today, literally today, earlier here on Tuesday, the second run stamps of the Outlaws, the Legacy Outlaws had showed up.
Those were highly anticipated for quite a while, those Outlaws. So I think there's a few people that are going to look to get their hands on those.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. They actually did a first-run stamp, which featured a female Wild Wild West image, and then they switched it up and made a male image as well. So 2 different unique discs, same disc, 2 different stamps that are out, and I know Innova released some Christmas discs. There's a lot of things going on.
Sure.
So it's pretty cool.
All right, so surfing around social media this week, we saw our good friend Paul Macbeth, who we'll have on the podcast, I'm sure, in the next couple of weeks or months. He called out one Brody Smith, the Ultimate player, who's very, very popular on social media with his trick shots. What exactly did Paul call him out on?
Well, before we get there, I'm going to call you out.
Oh,
and
geez.
I believe that we had a conversation about Brody Smith.
We did.
Probably about 2 years ago, and I said, oh, this guy's getting big. He's doing some really big stuff with Ultimate and his trick shots. And you said, I'm going to put it in my calendar, and we'll check in on him in a year.
Yep.
And a year later, he was
bigger.
10 times bigger.
He was bigger.
And now, a year later again, he's even big. He was in an HP commercial.
I did. I did see that. Yeah.
Just recently. As in, like, I was watching primetime football or something a day or two ago, and sure enough, he was actually one of the featured people within this HP commercial. So
yeah, and I think that was the bet we made, was whether or not he would be publicly noticeable, not just in the disc golf community, but publicly. And I'll admit to my mistake. I don't know the timeline we had at the bet, but either way, getting that kind of exposure for a disc sport is phenomenal.
Yeah, and clearly many of us know that Ultimate is very big. In fact, some say as many as 10 or 20 times bigger than disc golf, which is hard to believe, but it's true. And
do you know Brody? Are you?
Yeah, I've had a few conversations with Brody. Actually, I'll say before he was big time. We exchanged a few messages via Facebook and YouTube videos and
why don't
whatnot.
you pull some strings and maybe get him on a show that you and I host?
I think we should reach out to him. I hope he's still got time for us little guys, but I will reach out to him. That's actually a really good idea. And so getting back to it.
Yep.
Paul McBeth in his new compound, which we referenced last week, his training facility.
Yeah, he's got a basketball hoop I saw.
Yeah,
so I'm sure.
And he picked up a disc and really blindly threw an Ultimate disc behind his back, so to speak, calling out Brody, saying that he can throw a frisbee as well, so to speak, and banked it off or put it right into the hoop. And then I don't think there was any camera trickery. He said, "Let's try it again," and he did it, and he grabbed another frisbee, threw it again, and put it in again behind his back.
Amazing.
So he's right.
Well, maybe the rest of the disc golfers in the world will get lucky, and Paul will move to a new sport. Give everybody else a chance.
Yeah, Paul will move on to trick shots.
Yeah, he'll dominate a whole nother arena.
And speaking to that, I know that Avery Jenkins, our 2009 world champ, he had communicated with Brody a couple years ago, and they had done some trick shots and some videos together as well.
Yeah, they did 3 or 4 videos, I think, and it was real popular between the two of them. So
yeah, absolutely. And I know that Brody does play disc golf. We've seen some video of him playing. I'm going to go on record and say I think I can beat him in disc golf. Not Ultimate, not his vertical or anything like that, but I could beat him in disc golf.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll reach out to him, see if we can get him on the show. He's very, very active social media wise.
Yeah, he definitely is. I'm sure he's if he's doing commercials and such, he's an in-demand person.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that he also has he's traveling internationally. He's been to India. I've seen some of his other posts and some of his other videos. And he's if it's some form of social media, he's touched it at one point and has got into it. So we see a couple people talking about those commercials and some of those videos. We can get those posted for you guys, whether it's on our website or here in some of the comments and notes. We'll get those posted for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. You can find them.
Link to them.
Yeah, maybe what we'll do is we can put those links in our show notes. Maybe we'll make the show notes public to everybody. I see Brad Aarons is talking about Will Shoestrick having some sort of facility as well. I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's Will's exclusively, but I saw that exact thing that Brad's talking about. Thank you, Brad. He had posted an Instagram video of him throwing 10 or 15 drives into a net.
Okay.
And he was clearly indoors. Now, whether it's actually his, I don't know if it doesn't really matter.
No, not at all.
But yes, and that kind of brings us full circle actually to Sarah Hokum, who we talked about last week.
Yep.
Sarah said she's going to do 100 putts for 100 days, and she was gauging them from different distances. And then I even saw a day or two later, she was talking about spin putts versus push putts at these various distances. And then what I'm going to try and do is see if we can reach out to Sarah and see if she'll come on herself and give us an update, but also if she's logging all of this, other than watching every single video. We'll see if she's logging this, and we'd love to get some updates. And one of the coolest things that I think we saw of that is it seemed like Sarah really inspired a handful of others to go out and publicly list kind of their training and practice regimens for the winter.
Yeah, definitely. I know we didn't talk too much to Kat about an actual regimen, but that now is the time when if you can find a warm place right now in the country to get out and work on those putts, like Dana had said, works any kinks you have out of your game, and Sarah doing that looks like it's kind of created a small little wave of people, in being inspired by her. Kind of, it's not Ice Bucket Challenge inspiring apparently, but it's getting the point across. Seeing someone like Sarah who is at arguably the top of the game right now still go out every day and try to stay there. That's pretty amazing.
And one of her teammates, I know we just talked to Catrina, and also another one of her teammates in Ragna Big D. Yeah. She went out in the nastiest of conditions. She's in Michigan, Kalamazoo area. Okay. So very similar conditions to what we have in Milwaukee. And she also went out and was attempting putts, and she admitted she wasn't having a lot of fun with it. It was absolutely miserable out. She was in full, snow.
Full Eskimo gear.
Yeah, exactly. And then also, again, referenced earlier with Dana, Big Germ. He hit the basketball court, not with a ball, but with a big old jump rope. And he posted a video of him doing some jump roping. So
is that an exercise routine, or was he like double dutching with some local kids?
It was really cute. I think there was some hopscotch. No, he was definitely saying he wanted to get back into shape and get to it. So if you guys out there, especially any of our top players,
if I watch these videos, does it help me get in shape?
I've tried that for years. It hasn't.
No.
But the closest thing I can say to that is we got to call our friend out, Steve Held. He needs to get back in that racquetball court with me, so that I can get in better shape. And
Steve's a local disc golfer who a couple years ago was on a quest, called it the Quest for 1,000.
How's that going?
He didn't quite make it there, and
he hasn't died, but he hasn't quite made it there.
No, he hasn't quite made it to 1,000. I don't, no offense, Steve, but we don't think he will. But he was close. He had hit the high 990s a couple 2 years ago, and really made a good run at it. But you're right, you dominate him.
I do in racquetball. So all I'm saying is I clearly need to work out. There's no secrets there. So Steve, we're calling you out, buddy. Get back in that racquetball court so I can continue to smack you around the court. And
I'll be pretty blunt about this. I think it would be kind of cool to have maybe a Biggest Loser style community around this particular podcast. Maybe get a bunch of us fatties and see how much combined weight we can lose. Maybe kind of do something like that. Now's the perfect season for it. You're presumably golfing a lot less. You're listening to more podcasts, and this would be something great to do while we sit and jibber jabber. Maybe sit on a treadmill or a rowing machine or something that you can we'll keep you motivated.
All right. Well, we'll go on record. I think my original weigh-in is I'm going to say I'm 160.
Okay. Which half of you?
Well, all right. Well, anyway, we'll see if I'm around 160 when it's all said and done. That's what I'm saying I'm at now. And of course, Dana is still on the show here, checking out the action. Dana says he beat Steve at the Sandy Point team tournament. And he's just not going to let that.
No, he's. I guess when you're Dana, if that's what you have to hold on to, he's a touring pro who's won, countless events, but that's the one that really holds on to.
Steve Held.
You can see my championship disc over there. It's behind the lights. But
it's gorgeous.
Somewhere over there. Yeah, gorgeous. It's a nice someday tear.
Someday, yeah. Anyway, so with all that being said, certainly shoot us a message. Let us know what your favorite routine is, or what you're doing. Or what you like seeing out of our other top pros that are doing some of these practice regimens and off-season workouts. It seems to be becoming more and more of a thing.
Definitely.
Which is really inspiring, and it's great to see. It's
definitely great to see. So we're going to start wrapping up our show here pretty quick. I want to talk about real quick our weekly picks. I'll go ahead and start this. Just last week I went out and saw a movie. Saw Big Hero 6 with my boy. It was great. I know if you're into any sort of Marvel or comics or superhero or animation, you don't need to bring a kid. It was, having a 5-year-old is really just an excuse for me to be able to go out and see these movies and not look like someone weird sitting at a kid's movie theater. So go out and see Big Hero 6. It was really good. It was It was one of the better movies I've seen in the past year or two. So
okay. And now, was there Big Heroes 1 through 5?
There was not. Big Hero 6. 6 is the number of heroes in the movie.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Okay.
You know, I don't know what they're going to call Big Hero 6 2, because I guarantee you there'll be one if it's going to be squared or to the second power. So, I don't know, something like that. But definitely worthwhile. Go out and see that if you get the chance.
Okay. And speaking to which, I just saw Jim Carrey on Kimmel last night talking about Fallon, sorry. Talking about, Dumb and Dumber 2 was the number one
crazy
movie in the country. So.
I think it was the number one movie in the country when we were in college.
Yeah, so that, just to kind of date our podcast of then and now, Jim Carrey's still apparently getting it done. Well, with my pick, I definitely want to talk about a friend who I had a chance to catch up with last night. He's been introduced to the disc golf community a number of years ago. He hangs out with a lot of the Pandemonium crew here in the Milwaukee area.
Yeah, he's been going to one of your leagues off and on for the past couple of years.
But a real good mutual friend of just about everyone is Drew Griswold.
Yep.
And Drew Griswold has started Wander and Company, or Wander and Co.
WANDER, like Wander Around, Wander and Co. Wander and Company.
And speaking to just that, one of the things that he's going to be doing is wandering around the country and going to different, we'll say, festivals and shows and different causes and walks and all sorts of things like that. One of the unique things that he's doing, and you may have seen my new edition. Yeah. Not the
band New Edition,
but my new
your
edition.
favorite band New Edition.
It's my prerogative. But what we have here is
it's just Bobby Brown.
A pair of headphones.
Yeah.
And what's really cool about all of the products that Wander & Co. sells, that's true, is they all have a social cause that they're related to.
Okay.
So, for instance, every set of these headphones that are sold, the company that makes these, which I believe is LSTN, they actually...
Listen without any vowels.
They actually donate a hearing aid.
Oh, wow.
In some capacity. I don't know all the details, but I know they donate a hearing aid for every single set of headphones that are sold. Okay.
Yeah, and those are some really nice headphones. I'll be honest. I listened to them. We switched headphones earlier just to kind of see. And those are some really quality headphones. They sound way better than mine, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, they sound great. And then I know he's working with a sunglass company that makes some really nice high-end sunglasses, candles. You know, he's got five different companies that he works with. And then, again, he's looking to bring these to festivals and shows, and he's going to be kind of wandering around. He's 25 years old, so he's got a great opportunity to travel around the country.
Yeah, no reason not to.
When he's got a chance, he'll stop in and check out some disc golf. He'll check it out live for what we're doing, and then he'll stop at some tournaments and be involved with those. So we'll put a link out there as well. Again, that's our buddy Drew Griswold, Wander & Co. Yep. He's doing some really good things.
Yeah,
and
go out and take a look at the website. Maybe get some good Christmas gifts for somebody, and you know, you can put something in the card saying, you know, this Christmas gift also supplied a Christmas gift for somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. I know, for instance, especially me not being artistic, I know that there's notepads out there, and you can buy these really cool notepads. And he was telling me last night that some of the money that's made from the notepads then goes to artists and some other artist programs and, you know, other ways to give back. So all 5 of them, I know, you know, if you want to associate with anything, kind of like we see with Tom's shoes, you know, they talk about every pair of Tom's shoes sold, they give away a pair or two. Well, all of the products that he sells also have some kind of a social cause that they're related to as well. So thank you to Drew. And
thanks a lot, Drew. You're one of the good guys out there.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Turn to the side one so people can get a good view of the headphones.
Which side? My good? All right.
Anyway, you can see, definitely it's got like a nice wood finish, and this is actually engraved in here, this LSTN with some nice metal headbands. Those are really beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not you, the headphones.
Anyway, so yes, thank you to Drew, and again, we'll put some links out there. And again, it feels good. It feels good knowing that you're buying something and that it's also going out to support another cause. And
for sure.
And these sound phenomenal. I'm not much of an audiophile, but when I put on a set of these,
you only have one good ear.
What's that? When I put on a set of these, they do sound really nice. So there you go.
You're wasting half of them.
Exactly. Maybe you can double up on one of my sides. All right. So last week, again, we were really excited. We felt like we had a really good week. We hope you guys enjoyed all the action this week. It's super important for you guys to go out to like and to share and to tweet and do all of those different things so that we can kind of spread the word. You know, we want as many people taking this in as possible. Before we get to that, where you can find us and how you need to do all of that, let's talk a little bit about whether it's this podcast or if it's a live broadcast of actual disc golf footage.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about what we've seen work for people as to how they can watch it, whether it's TV, tablet, phone, computer, blah, blah, blah.
So from what we've seen, we push out virtually everything we do live on YouTube Live. It seems it's one of the best platforms. It's universal. From what I've seen and what I've heard, what has worked really, really well, what we highly recommend is the Chromecast. That's the number one thing that we recommend for people to view it. If you want to view it on your TV, that is.
What about hardwire? Let me interject there.
Sure.
What if your computer, usually laptop, has an HDMI out?
Almost all of them do. Sure, you can put that right to your HDMI on your TV, and you can push it right from your laptop. Any laptop's going to work. Any browser, YouTube is, it is what it is. We recommend Chrome as a browser just because I think it's the best browser out there.
It seems to work well. So if you can go hardwired and it's not a pain for you, you can just hook up a standard.
That's the absolute cheapest solution. Hook your laptop up to your computer. The next cheapest, I would say, would be the Chromecast.
Okay.
And that'll let you put any YouTube Live out there. If you have an Apple product and you can use, I think you can do like Apple TV. You can mirror your browser window, which would help out. You can't. I don't think you can push it out there via Apple Play. I'm not exactly sure on that, but there's that. The one thing we found out that a lot of people have requested that doesn't work is the Roku.
Okay.
They took that. I think they took that feature away about a year
and that's just for live.
That's for live strictly. So after the fact, after everything has been broadcast, within usually about 24 to 48 hours, it's out there for you to view using anything that can get YouTube. Any console like a PS3, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox 360, whatever, all that can be found. It's just strictly the live viewing that Roku doesn't seem to work with, or I'm not positive because I don't have either of them whether the game consoles will work. I've heard mixed reviews. Some people say they do something. I think, and without having one, it's hard for me to tell. So that's really the recommended route is straight from your computer. Either watch it on your laptop, hook it up to your TV, or a Chromecast. Mobile seems to work. Apple, one of the funniest things is when you watch a group playing and there's a backup and you're seeing people watch in the group their own card on the screen.
Or they might be the second card,
watching the first card, kind
Yeah.
of keep up with one. So I always get a big kick out of that. So so we know most mobile devices for sure. Android works. I'm fairly certain that iPhone and iOS work with YouTube Live. So that's the way we recommend to get it out and view it if you want to view live.
Yeah, and it's been great. We, in fact, encourage, just like with my video blogs, I always encourage you, if you have it up on a big TV, you got a group of people watching it, take a picture of you guys watching it. We love seeing that. We may feature it on our Facebook page. We love seeing that a bunch of people are taking it all in. And,
Definitely.
and we're always pushing out in at least 720, sometimes 1080.
Yep,
so
720 almost always. That's always the best. It seems to be the most solid bandwidth we have. 1080 we can do a little bit. Gets a little sketchy depending on what our environment is, but we've been known to do it in the past.
Yeah, and then one quick point, and we need to almost make show notes for ourselves every single week, and always keep this in mind. We need to add this to the show notes.
Sure.
Anytime you're watching live, and if it's a little bit grainy or a little bit choppy, usually your browser, whether it's your phone or your browser on your computer, or your tablet browser or whatever, it usually comes in at one of the lowest possible resolutions. It could be 360 or 480.
Something like that, yeah.
So make sure there's a little tiny gear, so to speak. It almost looks like an asterisk down at the bottom of your YouTube page. Make sure you go to that, and you can actually then push it all the way up to, like I said, 720 or 1080 if we're doing it in that. So make sure you always do that. We should announce that at the beginning of every show.
Yeah, we'll make it not the end of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
So everyone can watch us say goodbye in high def.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, definitely go down the bottom. For when you view via the Roku and things like that, it just automatically grabs your best available bandwidth, whether that be 720 or if you're sitting on kind of a crappy connection, you might only get 480, something like that. So you don't have to worry about that when you're viewing it via the Chromecast or after the fact on the Roku.
Yeah.
But when you're viewing live, definitely go ahead and click on the gear and put us up to 720. We want you to see all of our gloriness.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else we want to talk about? I know real quick. Let's go over where they can find us.
Okay. You can find us obviously out on the web. Smashbox on Facebook, SmashBoxxTV on Facebook. Just recently, as in this past week, I sat and worked with a couple companies to get us out on some podcasts. So you're going to be able to get just the audio on places such as Stitcher. I've communicated with them there. We should be up there on Stitcher. iTunes. We're searchable on iTunes, which I believe means that we're searchable on most podcasting apps. And the one I gave last week, my preferred one is called Casts or Pocket Casts. You can find us out there. If for some strange reason you can't find us, we'll put a link out there as far as how you can grab the direct feed. They're always out on the website, the SmashBoxxTV website. And it's like feeds.feedburner.com/SmashBoxxTV. I know that's hard to remember. We'll put something out there. If for some reason your particular podcast app can't find us, I haven't run into one so far that hasn't been able to find us. So we're on the most popular ones. They are out there. So you'll be able to get this audio, which is great because sometimes, if we do run long, like tonight, about an hour and 20 minutes, you can listen to the podcast at variable speeds. Yeah. So I tend to listen to all my podcasts at about 1.5 to 1.7. You can burn through, an hour in about 40 minutes. Yeah. So it's kind of nice.
I would slow down my... Okay, maybe not. All right. Well, with that being said, we also definitely have to say a huge thank you to all our guests. Of course, we're looking to have Dana as a reoccurring segment.
Unless we find someone better.
Ooh,
if you have other suggestions and someone you'd like to see take over Dana's position,
it's up for grabs every week.
We could have like a straw poll.
Yeah,
get
absolutely.
Out there who should be our go-to tournament guy.
But yeah, thank you to Dana. Of course, thank you to Katrina Allen. Yes. And we do our best we can to keep up with the live chat here. Brad, we know that you've been in here helping out all night and adding in things. Obviously, Eric McCabe, it's always a pleasure and an honor to have any world champion logged in and checking things out. He says, great show, guys. So thank you, Eric. We're going to definitely have you on the show at some point. And, Miles Parkhill over at Paragon, he's helped us with a number of things at SmashBoxx. Yep. Just spoke with him today.
The nice backdrop we got.
Yeah, he's a big supporter, and he's got some great ideas for us to improve upon our show.
For sure.
And, like we said, Mike Barnett and Steve Dodge, who I had great conversations with today, huge supporters of what we're doing.
That's great. And all of you, all 2,000 people that watched us on YouTube this week, thank you. You blew my mind. I didn't. Terry and I had a slight conversation about this, but I didn't expect the actual views to be that high in a week. It was heartwarming. To put it that way. It was great.
They love you, Jonny. They're sick of me. They just love seeing you finally, and you gave them what they wanted. And even on a more we'll say subtle or private note, I have the legendary Steve Rico sending me messages throughout the show, giving me some questions and some insight, and certainly we appreciate it. So
can we get him on the show sometime?
I bet you we can. He is my favorite Silmar player. Is that? Yeah, well, sure. He's one of the best guys out there, and Legacy has done so much to support me and so many of our efforts in general. So thank you to Steve Rico. Steve, we didn't get to all of your questions tonight. Maybe we'll pick up with that on another week. Yes. But I think that's about it. Tuesday next week, does that work for you again?
Yeah, Tuesday next week seems to work for me.
Wednesday is a big night. That's the night before Thanksgiving.
It is, and odds are most people will probably be traveling that night. So I think Tuesday is a good night next week.
Okay.
We'll try to keep it Tuesday for, I don't know,
the foreseeable future.
Couple years, hopefully.
Every Tuesday, we own you. Okay, maybe
definitely.
Not. All right. So with that being said, any parting shots? Is that it?
No, I think that's it. I think we're good to wrap the show up.
All right. Well, for everyone here, as we've said, everyone.
All the people involved.
Here at SmashBoxx, this is Jonny V. I am Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. We thank you guys for tuning in to our second ever podcast. Again, please go out, like, share, tweet, Tinder, Grindr, whatever it is you need to do to share the disc golf message and gossip and goodwill. Please go out and do it. Again, thanks to all of our guests, and we look forward. We're going to have an announcement very soon as to who our featured guest will be next week for podcast number 3. Again, Jonny V, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. We'll see you guys next week when you step inside the SmashBoxx.